All right, let's just jump right into this. We're going to explore a massive paradigm shift today, one that is absolutely going to change how you look at your own potential, your career, and honestly, the whole concept of competition. We live in this world, right, that constantly tells us to hustle, to grind, to push way harder than the person next to us. It's like exhaustion has become this weird badge of honor. But today, we're going to unpack why that exact mindset might literally be the one thing holding you back from your true potential and what you actually need to focus on instead.
Have you ever noticed how, practically since we were kids, society feeds us this one very specific, universally accepted cliché about what it takes to succeed? I mean, it's plastered on classroom posters, it's yelled by exhausted coaches, it's the core message of almost every motivational speech out there. And it's so deeply embedded in our culture for a reason. Because it's comforting. It tells us that the universe is perfectly fair, that sweat equity is the ultimate undefeated equalizer in life.
It's that phrase we all know by heart, right? Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. Man, it is an incredibly inspiring thought. Literally the plot of every great underdog sports movie we've ever cheered for. It tells you that if you just study longer, grind harder, never give up, you will absolutely defeat anyone who's naturally gifted. But there is a massive flaw in this logic. And realizing that flaw, actually letting go of that myth, can actually be way more liberating than just blindly believing the slogan. Because the hard truth is, sometimes talent really does give someone an insurmountable advantage. Let's be real. Some people are just born with a crazy physical edge, or a photographic memory, effortless charisma, or a mind that sees creative solutions like a chess grandmaster seeing 10 moves ahead. And when that raw, natural ability is combined with serious discipline, like when the Mozart of your industry is also out there working incredibly hard, simply putting in longer hours yourself doesn't guarantee you a win. You just can't always outgrind natural genius.
To really wrap our heads around why this matters, think about how competition scales. Back in a small classroom or a local office, putting in extra effort makes you stand out instantly. You're a big fish in a very small, predictable pond. But eventually, you graduate into the real world. And today, the real world is entirely connected. Thanks to the internet, you aren't just competing with the kids sitting at the desk next to you anymore. You are swimming in this massive global ocean alongside thousands of hungry, talented people from literally every corner of the planet.
And out there on that global stage, everybody is waking up early. Everybody is working weekends. Everybody is grinding. Because of this whole 24/7 hustle culture we live in, raw effort just gets completely drowned out. It's simply not the rare, distinguishing advantage it was back in high school. Hard work has just become the baseline. It is the absolute minimum requirement. Really, it's just the entry fee to even pull up a chair and play the game.
So, if literally everyone is working relentlessly, maybe the real problem is that we're way too focused on the sheer volume of our work instead of the system behind it. We tell ourselves, hey, if I'm not getting the results I want, I just need to sleep an hour less, make 10 more cold calls, or study for 3 more exhausting hours. We treat ourselves like machines where the only input is time. But time is finite, guys. Burning it blindly, that only leads to one place, and that's burnout.
Instead of just asking how much effort you can put in, the absolutely crucial thing to do is pause and ask yourself, how effective is my effort? Because working longer definitely doesn't automatically mean working better. Pouring more hours into repeating the exact same mistakes 1,000 times over, that's not creating real progress. Actually, scratch that. It's just creating pure exhaustion. It's like you're running incredibly fast on a treadmill. Sure, you're sweating, but you're never actually going to leave the room.
Think about it like a perfectly average, everyday car. If you want that sedan to win a Formula One race, simply pumping more and more fuel into the gas tank is not going to make it go 200 miles per hour, right? The problem isn't the amount of fuel. It's that the machine itself has structural limits. To go faster, you don't need more gas. You need a completely upgraded engine.
Well, human beings work the exact same way. If you want radically better results, you cannot just rely on bumping up your working hours. You have to upgrade the system producing those results, and that system is you. Real improvement is about upgrading your own engine. That means actively going out and getting better information, maybe finding a mentor, or studying completely new paradigms. It means adopting better strategies and deliberately refining your skills. And ultimately, it means making much, much better decisions, because the quality of your output relies entirely on the quality of your thinking.
And as you start to shift your focus to upgrading yourself rather than just exhausting yourself, there is this realization that brings such a deep, profound sense of relief. You ready? The truth is, you don't actually have to be number one in the world to build an incredibly successful, abundant, and fulfilling life. Seriously, you do not have to be the single smartest, fastest, or most innovative person in the room to be exceptionally good at what you do.
We do this thing where we look at the absolute best in a field. You know, the billionaire entrepreneurs, the star athletes, the massive viral creators, and we feel totally defeated. We use their immense success as proof that we could never compete. But we forget just how massive the world really is. There is room for thousands of successful people in your exact field. The modern economy has spawned endless micro-niches, totally different markets, diverse audiences, and countless unique ways for you to create immense value without having to be the one and only apex predator.
The very second you believe your success depends on defeating the most talented person in the room, you basically turn your own potential into this toxic comparison trap. So what if you stop letting comparison rob you of your drive? What if, instead of asking, how do I beat them, you just started asking, how do I become significantly better than I was yesterday? That one fundamental shift, it pulls you right out of an unwinnable race and puts all the power directly back into your own hands.
And this shift in mindset is absolutely crucial because everybody, including you, has these quiet, unique advantages that can be nurtured. Maybe you have a real knack for communicating well and making people feel heard. Maybe you notice hidden details that everyone else just rushes right past. Maybe you possess boundless curiosity, extreme patience, or just this incredible, unshakable persistence. At first glance, those might look completely insignificant next to someone else's flashy, raw talent. But make no mistake, those are the quiet, unassuming seeds of real mastery.
Because a small advantage, when you develop it consistently, turns into a massive advantage. Think about the famous British cycling team that went from a whole century of mediocrity to total Olympic dominance simply by aiming for a 1% improvement in everything they did. Just 1%. Real growth isn't this dramatic, cinematic, overnight transformation. It happens in the quiet moments. It happens by identifying a weakness on Monday, correcting a mistake by Friday, and then letting those tiny, microscopic improvements compound over weeks, months, and years. At first, you'll wonder if anything is even changing, but if you keep going, eventually the difference becomes completely undeniable.
And this is exactly why you can finally let go of that exhausting, heavy promise that hard work will always defeat talent. You just don't need that promise anymore to find your motivation. You don't need to cross your fingers and just hope that the talented people in your field get lazy and quit. The world is not a zero-sum game. Your success does not require anyone else to lose, to fail, or to give up. Your journey is entirely your own.
Your real goal here, the ultimate infinite game you're actually playing, is simply to stay in it long enough to let your improvements compound. It's about sharpening what is uniquely yours, learning better, practicing better, and slowly but surely evolving into a version of yourself you wouldn't even recognize if you look back just a few years from now.
Because at the end of the day, the most important competition isn't against the exceptionally talented person standing next to you. It's against the version of yourself that decided to settle. It's against the version of you that decided to stop improving. If you refuse to stop getting better, you just might discover something truly incredible, that an ordinary person armed with compounded growth, extreme patience, and a total refusal to stagnate is far more powerful than raw natural talent could ever be. So the only question left to answer is, are you ready to beat the version of you that stopped improving?